I'm done with you now that the house is finished. I want you to divorce my son.
I'm gonna move in with Mom, so you out of here.
The moment they finished the new house, they treated me like this. I knew they were trying to take advantage of me. With a big smile on my face, I said,
With pleasure.
A few days later, my mother-in-law came to my office, pale-faced.
What in the world is going on?
My name is Lucy. I'm a 34-year-old office worker. I currently live at home with my moi. My father died of an illness a few years ago. Since then, I have been taking care mother. My mother has always been frail and has been living under the care of a carer since her back and legs deteriorated 7 years ago. I have to work during the daytime or weekdays, so I have a caregiver help during those times. I take care of my mother during the day. It is not easy for me to balance work and caring for my mother, but I do it for her sake. I have received a lot of love from my parents. I am grateful that they sent me to boarding school, and I have many memories with my friends there. They took me to many places when I was a child. I wanted to repay my parents for the kindness. That's why, after my mother's back got worse, I returned to my hometown with them.
Lucy, thank you for everything, and I'm sorry for all the restrictions I put on you.
What are you talking about? There are no restrictions.
But you've been taking care of me for now, and it's not easy to meet anyone under those conditions, is it?
You don't have to worry about that. I'm not in a hurry.
I was fooling myself by saying that when I live like this, I certainly have nearly as many opportunities to people. People at work are either married or 10 years older than me. None of them were available for a serious relationship, so I wasn't blessed with any good encounters. In the midst of all this, a friend took the liberty of setting up a group date. I thought I would not find a partner I attended, but since my friend had it, I thought it would be rude not. So I decided to go to the party. And so, in the end, there were 3 mermaids, including myself, who attended the date. At first, everyone was talking friar a group. Then, as time went by, we changed 6, began to talk to those next to eat. At that time, James came up next to talk to me. James and I were the same age, so we had a lot in common, and I remember I used to talk to him. I would love to fall in love with him again. I thought things like that However, I accidentally told him about myself. It told him that I was taking care one mother at home. Most men wouldn't hesitate to go out with me, but I'm not interested in most men. Moreover, I think most men would feel that marriage would be too difficult. In fact, even when my father was still alive, I had experienced rejection when they found out that my mother was under care. So I was sure that he would naturally drift away from me as soon as he heard about my past. But his response was different.
I see. I know it's a lot of work. I think it's great that you're taking your mother.
What?
You're taking care of her, aren't you? That's a lot of work, and I respect it.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by edit, but if you want me to correct any spelling or grammar mistakes in your message, please let me know.
I had never been praised like that. I was both happy and a little embarrassed. However, he was serious in his compliments. There was no lie in his eyes.
You know, I come from a single-parent family, so I know how hard it is to be without a father.
I see.
Yeah, well, in my case, my dad had, and that's why my parents divorced.
Oh, I see.
Ah, you must be surprised.
Oh, no.
It's okay, I don't mind. I was happy living with my mother's problem.
See.
We talked about deep things that brought closer together. We exchanged numbers and started dates since then. Then he confessed to me, and we officially became boyfriend and girlfriend. I told him,
If you are considering marriage, I would like to offer my motherly advice. So please Keep that in mind before me.
To that, he said,
Of course, I thought about it. I've been thinking about all that.
I thought he was very trustworthy at first, but then we started dating. As we continued our relationship, he expressed concern about my mother and suggested having dinner with me at my house. He was very considerate of my situation and my mother's needs, even though we were not yet married. I became more and more attracted to. My mother also liked him, saying he was a kind and good person.
Thank you so much for keeping Lucy company. This girl was so busy taking care when she didn't have time to fall in love.
No. I'm the one who's grateful dating me.
I was happy to see him and my mother talking happily together. And so we continued dating, and after we decided to get married, I never thought I could get married. But with him accepting my mother, I know that we would definitely have a happy marriage. My mother was so happy when we had wedding. My coworkers and my friends also congratulated me on my marriage. I thought I was going to live with, but to my surprise, he offered to my mother.
Are you sure about this?
Of course I am. I've been thinking about it ever since decided to get married.
Thank you, James.
Was genuinely happy. I had originally hoped that when I married, I would be able to live with my parents in their house to take care of my mother. I thought I would have to move back between our place and my mother's. But then, my husband suddenly suggested that we should go to a nearby beach. When I told my mother about this, she burst into tears of joy.
I'm so glad you met someone truly
This is how our life together began. I was content to enjoy being a new wife with my husband, while also caring for my mother. My husband actively helped out with the heavy lifting and pushing the wheelchair when I needed a man's help. We were living a peaceful life together with our family. But about 2 years later, my mother's condition suddenly worsened. She had been able to live with us as long as I took care of her, but now needed to be hospitalized. However, as my mother was already 70 years old, I was a little premature in this. I went to visit her every day. My husband also came to visit her and finished work early.
Lucy, thank you for everything you for me. James, please take care of Lucy.
Mom, don't say things like that. Don't talk to me like it's your last day on earth.
Yes, we need you to live longer.
Thank you. You're so kind.
I had a bad feeling about this. The way my mother talked to me sounds she was prepared to. I then explained the situation to the company. If something were to happen to her, I would like to take a paid leave. I didn't want that to happen at all if possible. But my bad premonition came true. A week later, my mother's condition and passed away. I was very depressed by my mother's. My husband comforted me and calmly made arrangements and preparations for the funeral. Thanks to him, I was able to send my off safely. After the funeral, I was still felt like I had a gaping hole in my.
Lucy, let's live happily for our ma. Take your time and get your strength back.
Thank you.
My husband was so kind and cuddled. I healed my emotional wounds little over time and regained my strength. I truly believe that I have met my soulmate, but that was my big mistake. I began to feel uncomfortable with my husband. It was about 3 months after my passed away. When I started to regain some of my health, my husband began to invite my mother to our house often.
Lucy, I hope you are feeling better. I know it must be hard for you, but to look to the future.
Thank you for your words.
My mother-in-law used to say, kind words can warm a heart. But I was a little troubled by her visits.
Mom, you should eat dinner with us tonight.
Sounds like a great idea. I'll definitely do that.
My mother-in-law, as a matter of course, would have dinner with us. She often stayed over too. It was fine if it was only once, but but she came 2 or 3 times. It was almost as if we lived together. Moreover, my mother-in-law did not pay for any of the food or other expenses during these visits. My husband may have told her she could pay for it, but then I had to pay out of our family budget. It basically meant that I was paying for it. And in the midst of all this, my husband started saying something like this.
Why don't we invite my mother to come and live with us?
What? With your mother?
Yeah, because it's a little big for 2 of us. You're the one who inherited it, so give this place away either. I was born when my mom was young, so only 65. But still, anything can happen at any time. I'm just worried about her, you know. Mom says she'll take care of the house. I think if we work and she does the housework, we can all live a happy and comfortable life.
At that time, I was convinced by my words, and so I agreed to live with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law did not bully me or anything like that. She did the housework well and was helpful. It was nice to come home from work, the food ready to eat. My mother-in-law was kind to me while we were together, and I enjoyed talking with them over dinner. I had come to trust my mother-in-law completely. In the midst of all this, my mother-in-law and my husband suggested something surprising.
This house is getting old, so why build a new house? We'll live in this house for a long time, won't we? We might even have children here. Then I think it would be better to new and clean house.
I think that's a good idea. I think it's your parents' wish that you be happy and comfortable.
When my mother-in-law and husband came to visit me, I felt the same way. My mother and father always wished happy. As my husband and mother-in-law said, rebuilding the house and living in a new one might lead to my happiness, so I took them up on their offer. Then my husband and I searched for an estate agent. And we discussed the property's features and the price. My mother-in-law also joined us, and she shared her opinion. And then we actually started constructing the first prototype. Until the house was completed, we lived in a rented apartment as our residence. The days passed by so quickly. We were excitedly waiting for the day when our new house would be completed, which was but then I overheard an unexpected conversation between my mother and own husband. It all started when I was frequently working overtime. When I went home one day after working overtime, I heard something that I believed.
Well, it looks like the plan is going to happen sooner than I thought.
Yeah, I wonder what she's going to when we get rid of that stupid wife. I can't wait to get your lovely girl over here and have the 3 of us together.
I really couldn't believe my ears. My husband and mother-in-law were talking about whether they were having an affair with someone else besides me. I opened and closed the front door so that they would not hear their conversation. Then they finally noticed that I had returned. The atmosphere of the conversation just had between them was gone. They were back to their usual friend with me. I was growing distrustful of them. But still, the rebuilding of the house had already begun, and I couldn't stop it. And after a while, the house was court. We quickly moved from our new house. The new house was very clean and beautiful from the outside. We also saw the interior of the house. It was a beautiful, new, and very My husband and mother-in-law were very impressed and excited. Then they turned to me and suddenly to grin and laugh.
I'm done with you now that the house finished.
That's what my mother-in-law said to me once. And my husband agreed with her. He said this as he pulled out the completed divorce papers. I knew they were trying to take advantage of me. With a big smile on my face, I said,
With pleasure.
I immediately took the divorce papers. My mother-in-law and husband were so sure that I had backed down so quietly. They seemed to think that I had given.
I'm glad you were fooled so easily. I've been waiting for this moment. First time I talked to you at the B date, You were already living alone with mother, who already needed care at. I had a flash of inspiration that it would be perfect if mom. I moved into the house and we inherited and rebuilt it together. I'm a genius, right?
I was utterly dumbfounded. They had been planning this for years, was stunned to the point of amazement. My mother-in-law praised her son.
He really is the best son anyone could ask for. Now I can live comfortably in my old age.
They grinned at each other. But my husband and mother-in-law don't yet. I had already made the first move. I took my luggage and left the place was. Then I went to a place. I had already rented a room in an apartment for myself. So I was going to move there from the beginning. I am sure my husband and mother-in-law will be surprised at what is going to happen to them. I thought about it and couldn't help but laugh a little. I thought they might call me or but no. They stormed into my office I was surprised, as this was unexpected.
What on earth is going on?
Why do we have to be evicted from our homes?
My husband and mother-in-law shouted like that, but I calmly replied,
The house and the land belong to me, so it's up to me to sell them. Is that right?
When I said that, the two of them were immensely upset.
No, that's not possible.
Didn't we buy that house under your ownership?
You didn't listen to anything I said. We decided to buy it in my name because I earned too little. That's why the house and the land are so important to us.
Finally, they seemed to understand the situation.
It's our fault. So please, let's live together again.
We're a married couple and we have no relatives left. Let's live happily again as a family, mother and me.
What are you talking about? Don't you remember when you confronted me with the divorce papers? I've already filed them. We are strangers now. And I have proof that you're having an affair too.
Oh, no.
I'm not waiting. This is my office. I want you out of here.
I called the security guard and asked him to send them away. Soon, my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law were taken outside by the security guard. I then filed a claim for alimony against my ex-husband and his affair partner through my lawyer. My ex-husband's salary is in months. It seems like he's struggling with his debts as they keep increasing. In addition, he couldn't get hold of his affair partner to tell her that what she had told him about their relationship wasn't true, and he was dumped. My ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law are living in a shabby apartment after. I heard a rumor that they were kicked out of the house because they were bothering neighbors with their daily fights. I don't know where they are now and interested in them. I, on the other hand, live in a small apartment for singles, peacefully and comfortably. The house I rebuilt sold for quite a high price, and I was able to make a good profit. I am planning to keep the money, and after my retirement, I'm going to put my love life on hold and going to devote myself to as much as I can.
It's just fraudulent to think that planning to take over the house from beginning.
I believe that this ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law deserve harsher sanctions. But from Lucy's point of view, maybe be better to cut them off as soon possible. At any rate, I am glad she was able to profit when she sold the house. I hope a nice man will appear in front of Lucy in the future. Thank you for watching.